Captain Eddie Castellan. I'm in the shop. Might be better sound, better lighting, and everything else. But hey, before we do anything else, you know what you have to do. Yeah, it's right here. You have to watch. Hey, I'm in the shop playing around a couple of things. And I've got some great projects coming up. Every one of them kind of lends back to rebuilding the shop, moving into the house, putting up with the boss. You know how it goes. But this week we had a couple of things. We had a new microphone. Hello, how are you? Better than McDonald's may help you, but it's there. Add a new light. Take the hat off, you'll be able to see it, but the glare will get you. So, we're making some changes and improving things all the time. Let's talk about lathes and how to hold pieces today. And I had this to go on for a while, but I'm still finding some components for it. So bear with me, we're going to get to it, but holding work, how to put it, if I can hold it, I can turn it. Pretty darn simple, isn't it? If I can hold it, I can turn it. But I'm going to turn a bottle stopper. Yeah, I got a Ruth Niles bottle stopper right here. Yep, from Ruth. Oh, by the way, Ruth doesn't own that company anymore. She sold it to, of all people, Carl Jacobson, or Robin Jacobson. And, but I have bottle stoppers in stock, and I want to do something with them. So right now, before I lose it, I'm going to tuck it into my smock pocket. Yeah, because if it falls on the floor, there's no finding it. I want to hold it using a mandrel. This mandrel is a product of Niles bottle stoppers. Now, it's a pretty simple mandrel. It's a number 2 Morse taper, and it's got a bolt on the end of it right here. Now, that threads into my wood. Now, believe that. It actually threads into the wood, and it holds it. But hey, if I took this stopper, this mandrel, right here, and I put it in my tailstock, my headstock, it's the headstock. I'm going to take that mandrel, and I'm going to use it in my headstock to hold the piece that I'm going to turn. So I'd be putting it in there. It's another 2 Morse taper to another 2 Morse taper, and I tap it and say, hey, that's pretty good. Safe as can be. No, really. If I get any outward pressure, like I'm turning a sweep from the bottom up, out it comes. Well, I can prevent that if I put my tailstock up to it and turn it, even with a soft touch. Turn it to keep it in there. Or, voila. Yes, this is a drawbar. Now, a lot of college, well, all college chucks use a drawbar, but a lot of chucks use a drawbar to keep it in place. Now this one, the drawbar threads in from the end of the headstock. It's, get this out of here now. See, I stamped it in there, it won't come out. Gotta get a plier. Did you ever have one of those days where no matter what button you touched, it was the wrong one? All right. I have the mandrel to go into the headstock. It's a number 2, number 2. Okay. If I put it in and I put some pressure on, I can pop it out. I'm going to put the drawbar in. Here it is, right here. It's a 1/4 steel bar, threaded bar. Picked up at the hardware store. I have a keeper nut on it, and I have an oversized star nut. I get these at MSC Direct or Granger, and they're so handy for when you're doing something like this. Now, let me mention, this 1/4 fits this mandrel made by Ruth Niles. If I was going to use a collet chuck, a regular good old-fashioned collet chuck that I got at littlemachineshop.com's got them. I love collet chucks. It may fit a 3/8, so I have to have a 3/8 inch bar. No magic, hardware store, cut it off. Oh, don't let it stick too far out. Too far out and it does that, okay. That harmonics is going to work its way all the way through and give you really nice chatter. Not when you're looking for chatter. Okay, now, I've drawn a bar up. I've snugged it up, the mandrel into the headstock, and now I'm ready to thread on my piece of wood and go to work. I don't have to worry about when I unthread the piece of wood, I'm not going to loosen this up. I don't have to worry about when I'm knock on it. It's not gonna come loose. I don't have to worry about when I'm really working on it hard that the vibrations that I generate won't loosen it, move it out. That's what the drawbar does. Tightens it up and keeps it tight. That's where you want it at. Now I think the next step is, let me get the wood. I'm glad you moved. This works better for us. Mandrel, screw, headstock, drawbar, me. All right, now we got it squared away. What I took over to my drill press a minute ago was a 1.5 by 1.5 by 2 inch block. Right there. Now I drilled a hole. It's not a 3/8 inch hole. It is about that much below 3/8. If it's 3/8, it'll slip right on and not have any teeth. So it's got to be a little bit smaller than 3/8. You get the mandrel, get the drill bit from Ruth also. Or Robin, but it's all Ruth now. Now, let's get up here. Oh, I didn't tell you. Okay, I don't like turning squares. No, when you turn the squares, boom, 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 when you get started. That's a good sound effect. No, I take it over to the bandsaw and I make it into an octagon. Not a hexagon, an octagon. All right, I just take it to the bandsaw, stand up on edge, and knock the corners off. No magic. What's it do? Makes it smoother for me to turn. Now, I need to thread this on. Now, the screw, the bolt has got a slide in it that allows it to self-thread. And it's going to thread itself right onto this mandrel. Oh, the hole can be drilled. That bit's about 3 inches long. You don't want to go no more than about 1 inch. That's all the thread you have sticking out. After that, you might meet yourself at the top. Now, turn it on, power it up. That's it. It's holding the piece. Now, when I start shaping this, I'm going to bring the tailstock up, make contact to stabilize it so you start to shape. But a plain old-fashioned bottle stopper is okay. But can you throw another nickel on top of that? Oh, wait, did I say nickel? Maybe a dime, maybe a dollar. Let me look through the box and see which ones we got. Watch. Did I mention the beauty of using these blocks, the color variances? I've got a dark, I've got a pink, I got a purple, blue, green, and a couple of the 9 colors that I can't remember all of them, but that's the variety. Now, I said that because I want to mention that there is no magic to the wood you use for a bottle stopper. Except, don't you like the way we lead up to that and do an except? Except the wood has to be dense enough to accept a good turn. If you make it out of a piece of 2x4, it might be too grainy, too hard, too soft to get a good finish out of. Pick something else, but just look at it and see how it finishes. That is what your piece is going to look like. Now watch. If only you knew how to find the on and off button. I got the piece in. Mandrel, bar, all that. Tailstock, revolving center. It's not mandatory, but it's really nice to have it. I'm going to put a little pressure on it. Now, I don't want to crush it. I don't want to have to drag it through a wall. I just want to put enough stabilizing pressure on it to where when I turn it, I don't get a vibration. And with the lockdown chuck and everything else I'm doing, I might not have a problem with that. Management came in and said, hey, shield police caught you the other day without your shield on. Put your shield on. That's how she talks. No stopping. Not being four-sided really helps. Just about round. We're round. Now with that, I want to change to my Ellsworth gouge and put a little shape to it. Now if you're thinking, I don't have an Ellsworth gouge. You have a spindle gouge? Here's my spindle gouge. I just put a good fingernail grind on it. I'm sharpening this fingernail gouge. The same conditions, math, layout, jig, rig, whatever you want to call it, is this one. This is my 3/8 inch Ellsworth bowl gouge. Deep V. I love it. I shop for Huya to find the perfect one to replace my other one with because I ground it too much and threw it on the floor. Okay. With this, I can go to my jig right behind me, make one pass, and I got a good sharp edge. And I mean one pass. Get a good sharp edge to continue on. Now I'm round. I'm go over and crank it up. And I guess we're on the second step, so maybe we're up about 1100 RPMs. Stand by. I had to do the standby thing because I really had to sneeze. Don't sneeze inside the shield. Oh, that's a mess. Power up, shield down. Good sharp skew makes those easy corners easy. Ride the bevel. Don't go into it wild and think you got to chalk it out in 1 second. This whole operation can take about 2 minutes. Yeah. Don't go uphill like that. Yeah, that's what I do in the face. Don't do that. You know what they said when you were a kid, if you do that, it's going to hurt. Don't do that. Back up wide and the bevel downhill. Actually, that's about done. I would take my good scraper and plane off this a little bit, just knock it down, but I have to fix that top. Top is not going to work for what we're doing, so let me go back and do a little work on it. All right, I'm putting down the Ellsworth. I'm picking up the fingernail gouge. This was resharpened by Mark Soleil, S-I-L-L-A-Y, S-I-L-L-A-Y. He's old, he's grumpy, watch him. But he can show you how to sharpen a fingernail gouge to make cuts you really didn't think you could ever make. Downhill plane cut. That's uphill. Don't go uphill. If you see a little bump or a ridge and you think, well, I can take care of that shear scraping, be careful shear scraping this. It's not as dense as some people would like it to be. A slight catch, it blows up. Put your mask on. Heard those saying it ain't worth a plug nickel? That's not a plug nickel. It's a little bit nicer than that. Now, I used to work with a fellow that traveled the country a lot, traveled the world a lot. And every once in a while, he'd empty his pocket change out and give it to me. And I would insert it into the top of a bottle stopper. Yeah, well, this top won't match up. But I removed the tailstock and have it lined up to make a couple of real nice slicing cuts. Now, I'm going to go back to my fingernail gouge and I'm going to take some slicing cuts. Now, it'd be good if I went back this way, but I'll be tearing up some grain because I'll be going downhill. So I'm going to go uphill on it, and my tool rest is just a fudge high than I want. Because I want my heart of my blade to cross right at that dot. You got it? Right at that dot. When I put my hood down just now, I snapped the mic out of my way. So let me do a voice over here. We're going to crank it back up. I've got the slicing tool of my choice, which is my fingernail grind. And I'm going to go across this end with some very slight, easy bevel rubbing cuts. Can't get any simpler than that. I'm going to go in and take my time. It's not a race. So turn the tool up almost vertical for the gouge and then get your cut started and to twist your wrist a little bit to start the cutter end going. It's like the on-off switch and go right on to the center. That's like, feels like it's been sanded to 220 or 320. But it's slightly compressed because I was rubbing the bevel. I'm going to go back, feel it again, and slice in. What is the goal? The goal is to get to the point to where the coin looks comfortable sitting on the top of the piece. Comfortable. So you're on board with me. I picked up this little tool to set a corner, and the tool wasn't sharp. No, it wasn't sharp at all. So I just touched it up on this diamond stone. Now I'm ready to come put that groove in. But I'm learning from this, and I'm going to pull back a little bit, okay? Go machine, go. We're there. This fits in very nicely. It's not proud of the edge. There's no reveal around it. So that is a good fit. I mean, that's a really good fit. Now that's got the queen on here from 1894. It's a good looking coin. Now, I have a whole box of these, but you don't have any coins to use like that. A penny looks good, a dime looks good. If you got a friend visiting from Arizona, a quarter with Arizona on it looks good. I cheat. I go to the car wash and pick those up, put $5 in, get a whole bucket full, and they still spend. All right, what would I do with this? I'm running out of clock. So this looks good. I would sand it out and then coat it with CA, all of it with CA. And if that's going to be finished, it'll be finished. But otherwise, it's going to give me a good base. And I'll see any irregularities I may have put in or existing in the material, a tear out or whatever, I'll see that. Then I would place the coin with a drop or two of medium thick CA under the coin and bring up my tailstock with a soft touch. Don't want to mark the coin. Bring up tailstock with a soft touch, leave it on there, and when it cures out, then I can buff this with Scotch-Brite and put the finish on it. You can go right over the coin if you choose. It'll look good. Now, if your coin looks dull, buff it first, not later, because that buffing, no, buff it first. Put it on a piece of towel and just rub it, rub it, rub it. It might be nice if you had one that's defective, bent, twisted, or whatever, and you put that in. Remember, you put a little bit deeper. So that's it. a plug nickel. What does that mean, a plug nickel? All right. Otherwise, we made a simple little bottle stop for a roof miles piece, and Easter's coming up. It's probably going to the dinner table at Easter. But I live in South Louisiana. They have never corked a bottle of wine after they've opened it, ever. So it's lost to these folks. I'm Captain Eddie Castellan. I'm in a shop. And you know what I'm doing? I'm making shavings. See you back soon. Be safe.